Reducing risk for those who underwrite indemnity insurance can make sense in theory, but it can also be counterproductive and actually strangle the builder and make it harder for them to grow, can't it?
Yeah, it can.
Welcome to Building Perspective, the Master Builders SA podcast. I'm your host, Will Frogley. Join me as I speak with some characters in the building and construction industry.
Master Builders Insurance Brokers is where the building and construction industry goes for specialist advice. We know the right insurance cover is essential to the success of builders of all sizes. And we're here to help you understand, select and manage the right cover for your business. How do you know you've got the right cover? You trust the industry specialists.
It's a pretty tricky environment for builders out there at the moment. Everyone's busy, everyone's flat out, but the cost of everything's gone through the roof. It's quite a tricky environment to navigate, and having your insurance in order is extremely important. And that's why it's great to have Brett Leonard from Master Builders Insurance Brokers with me today. Brett, welcome. Great to have you here.
Thanks, Will. Great to be here.
So I guess let's just go right to the very start. What exactly is building indemnity insurance and why is it so important?
Yeah, the Builders Indemnity Insurance is set up to protect the homeowner. So for any building contracts that are signed in excess of $12,000 that need council approval, the builder then needs to lodge the eligibility certificate to provide to the homeowner. So it protects the homeowner if the builder goes, dies, disappears, or becomes insolvent. And also, once that work's completed, it does sort of provide some sort of cover up to the 5 years where they need to come back and rectify any sort of defects and so forth like that. So it's a really important. It's a mandatory insurance. So any contract that is signed over $12,000 here in South Australia, the builder does need to provide that to the homeowner. So effectively, it's protecting the homeowner if something happens to the builder and they're unable to complete the work that they've started or near completed. So,
and who administers building indemnity insurance in South Australia? Yeah,
in South Australia, it's QBE Insurance, so the sole provider for builders indemnity insurance in South Australia. So probably up to 5-6 years ago, there used to be a couple other providers in the market, but as we sit here right now, it's just solely QBE. So.
And it's an issue that we certainly take a lot of calls from our members about. What's the latest out there from your perspective?
Yeah, look, it's been a changing environment in the builders indemnity space. There has been some increases on rates across the country, and there, I suppose, overall, there's been a tightening of limit reviews and new eligibility applications that are coming through. What we try and do is really work alongside the builder really closely. We have a specialised team set up in our Victorian office that their sole focus is to provide builders indemnity assistance to our members and our clients. So their role is to work alongside the builder regarding their financials and trying to get the best outcome what they can provide with them regarding their business structure going forward, whether that's the next 12 months, 2 years or 3 years. So really working through where they want to take their business, and obviously with their current limits, looking to get increased limits if that's the case, or getting everything tidied up so that they're comfortable and there's no issues for them going forward. So
just tell the viewers, just explain what the limit actually is and why that's such a big issue for people in the industry right now.
Yeah, so way it sort of is provided is there's an annual limit. So that might be, say, $5 million, for example. So effectively, you've got a renewal period. So it might be from 1st of June to 1st of June the following year. So effectively, you can sign contracts within that sort of $5 million limit. So if that limit gets exhausted, then obviously you need to apply for an additional limit increase, which can be provided, but then you obviously got to go through and provide your financials. So it's really important that you look at your pipeline of business that is coming up, and then we can sort of really identify what we need to do regarding changing your financials and working alongside accountants, your accountant as such. So our team will speak directly to the accountant to help the members get the best outcome. So it's really important that have those conversations and really open and honest with what you're trying to achieve going forward, so that we can get the best outcome for those limits they need. So.
Where it really seems to bite with most of our members is with that kind of growing builder who's up and coming, who wants to grow their business and they feel like they're handicapped by these limits and they can't achieve their true potential, even though they think they're being a very responsible operator. It's something I know I take a lot of calls about. You mentioned the limit. Master Builders is certainly speaking to the government about whether we could have a job on, job off type arrangement like is in other states, like there is in other states. That would certainly be very helpful, wouldn't it?
Yeah, there's some. If you could sort of change the structure as it is currently, I think that would assist some builders in a significant way. And yeah, anything that can be brought in to improve and help the builder achieve those limits that they need to go forward and grow their business would be more than valuable, I would have thought personally. So
that seems like a common sense way to help people in the industry. I mean, looking at it from a builder's perspective, you could have, let's say the cost of building might have gone up 20%. If your limit stays the same, you have to build 20% less homes, don't you?
Yeah, effectively. So that's something you've got to take into account. And someone who potentially has an existing limit, you want to make sure that that limit still is applicable to what you are as you are currently setting it today. So it's always beneficial, and our team are always there to help regarding any reviews and providing for the documentation to provide that everything stays the same or gets a better outcome for the member. So
we talked about the frustration with the limit just merely staying the same. How often is it the case that the limit's actually going down for certain builders?
Look, yeah, I haven't seen anything here myself, but I have heard of some nationally across the country. Like I said, there's been a lot of, you read the news, but a lot of insolvencies across the country. So it's just not QBE, it's everyone across in that builders indemnity space are definitely tightening and looking at ways to reduce risk, I suppose. That's what the end of the day is. Yeah, so we have seen some that say someone might have a current limit of X amount, but their financials doesn't quite line up to where that. So haven't seen anything myself here, thankfully, in SA, but it's always pays to stay on top of what you want to do, and that's where we're here to help, really, just have those conversations. Instead of leaving it to the last moment, I suppose, then it could cause some issues. So it's always having those active conversations with ourselves here in South Australia or our team that's dedicated to help in Victoria. So
reducing risk for those who underwrite indemnity insurance can make sense in theory, but it can also be counterproductive and actually strangle the builder and make it harder for them to grow, can't it?
Yeah, it can. Yeah, so look, we have obviously nationally across the country a number of policies we place through that facility. We do have some sort of weight to argue and go into battle for the builder, which we do quite regularly. So our team does try and really work with the relevant parties to get the best outcome for whatever we can. Not saying we get the right outcome every time, but I know personally our team is really dedicated and focused of working and achieving the best outcome we can provide in ourselves. So,
and I certainly get very good feedback about the work that you do, Brett, and that of your team. It's very important, isn't it, that you come and get that advice as soon as possible rather than waiting to the last minute and trying to address it then.
Yeah, most definitely. Like I said, it's something of those, we value the relationships we provide, and that's really, it's a key component of what we do here in South Australia and across the country. But it's really important that you have those ongoing conversations that we can assist. So instead of waiting a month out before you need it, we can sort of identify and work alongside all the relevant parties to really continue that relationship and help the builders grow and achieve their business goals. So
you mentioned that these issues are pretty widespread right across the country, and we look around at what's happening elsewhere in Australia, and we are very concerned about the number of insolvencies in our industry. We haven't really seen that in South Australia yet, but it remains a big risk, doesn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. Like I said, it's it seems to be daily in the news, especially in the eastern seaboard, that the builders are going under. Yeah, touch wood, we've been fairly lucky here in South Australia, and I hope that continues to stay that way. But like I said, it's something we need to keep an eye on and just really work alongside all the relevant parties. So.
And a few years ago, we had, I think, 3 different providers. But it's been QBE for quite a while now, hasn't it?
Yeah, so I think since 2017. So so they've been the sole provider here for what's that, ongoing 5 years. So. Yeah.
Is that common around the country for there just to be a sole provider, or do they have a couple in some of the other states and territories?
Yeah, I believe. Look, I'm not across totally in other states, but I think in New South Wales and Victoria, there's a couple of providers that do assist. So you do have that sort of alternative that if things don't go to plan with one provider, you can approach the other. So personally, I can't. QBE being the sole provider here in South Australia, I wouldn't think there'd be another player come into the market at the current environment. Not saying that won't happen going forward, but as it stands right now, QBE is still the only provider that will be providing the builder's indemnity. So.
You don't have to name the builder. In fact, I'd prefer you didn't. But can you give me an example of how you've really been able to help a member recently to navigate what is a pretty tricky environment when it comes to insurance?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, look, and we work alongside the large sort of the builders and also the small and medium. So, just a recent story where someone was looking to get an increased limit review. We had one of our team managers over in Victoria. Now the borders are open, so they can come along and sit down with a member in their office, and we did that and really assist them getting the right outcome for what they're looking for. So that was just a really collective team effort, I suppose. So ourselves here in South Australia have got the relationship, but we've got the technical support and the guidance that our team set up in Victoria that can come over and sit down with the builder, work alongside them and really get the best outcome. So when we present at the QBE, they get the best outcome for what they're looking for. So that was a really a success story for us. And there's many that I could go into, but we obviously try and do better, and that's what we're here for, to really assist our members and our clients. Just really help them best we can.
I've had the premiums go up pretty recently. Was it 4%?
Yeah, just recently, the 1st of September, went up a 4% increase. I think across the country there's been some increases in that space. So we'll just need to keep an eye on that. Like I said, I'm not too sure when the last increase was. I think it's been pretty consistent for a number of years now. So, but there's been a recent increase, across the country for that product. So,
the Treasurer called me to give me advance notice about the rate increase, but I said to him, ideally we wouldn't want the rate to go up, but it's really that limit that's the major issue for our members. And, I think that's when we had the opportunity again to mention, I think the job on, job off is something that could make a really big practical difference to South Australian builders.
Yeah, I think, from the top level down, if they could look at ways to restructure it and anywhere to assist builders, I think that would be a great outcome. So I think it works really well in other states that we hear of regarding that model. If they could sort of bring something in similar to South Australia, I'm sure that'd be really beneficial for everyone. So.
And obviously you do a lot more than just building indemnity insurance. What else is kind of going on in the insurance industry at the moment? Yeah,
look, it's a changing environment all the time, particularly probably the last 12 to 18 months. So ourselves here in South Australia, we really focus on the construction insurance, or the general insurance, if we want to use that jargon. So it's the contract works policies, the liability policies, and also there's all varying policies attaching to a business. So when we look alongside, so the large scale builders to also to the subcontractors, who really just the man on the tools with his tools and his liability cover. So we've got a team here in South Australia, 3 people. So our focus here is really in the general insurance. So we really personally enjoy getting out and meeting our members, face to face, and just building those relationships. I think insurance is something that we need to add value to, and that's that relationship that we really strive to develop. So just really, we try and make that a point of difference between other providers out there, where we give that personalised service. Obviously the association members are really important to the relationship to what we do. So we really want to act in the best interest of everyone and just manage those relationships. So so there's a lot of insurance that we do manage, but construction insurance probably is predominantly most of the policy we issue. So, and there's been a tightening across that regarding premium increases. We're seeing some insurers reduce cover as well. So that's really important for clients to really review their insurance policies from one year to the next, because we are seeing on renewal there is some significant increase, but there's also a reduction to cover, which could expose the builder for potential claims that they may think they're covered for, but in reality they may not be. So we're lucky enough with MBIB to have an exclusive wording with CGU Insurance regarding a construction and liability insurance. So we do have some exclusive wordings out there. We give some more additional benefits than the standard off-the-shelf product. So that's where we sit down with a member and go through not just the price, but also the coverage, which I think is really important, that we really identify if there's any gaps in cover, so we can sort of tighten that up. And then we don't want to get those phone calls from the builder that something happens and then let them know that they're not actually covered for it. So we've got a really comprehensive policy which really gives us an advantage out in the market, and some pricing as well. So yeah, so we really value that support from our insurers that we can provide those products to the members. So
I guess when most people think insurance, they think about managing risk. And it seems like we just have a constant bombardment of new risks in the building construction industry over the past 2 years. Is there anything emerging, lately that you think needs to be on people's radar?
Yeah, look, there's 3 products that we see probably is really important. That's probably not really well known out in the market at the moment. There's a legal expense policy, so which covers any legal, if you need to engage any legal support regarding contract disputes, for example. So invoices not being paid and you can't sell it, or varying reasons for that along that line, property disputes. So there is a policy out there that can cover you for any legal expenses. You have to go down that part, and we've seen some claims or phone calls from members regarding that. And then there's probably the biggest risk going forward for us and for all businesses, not just in the construction, is cyber insurance. So probably over the last couple of years, we've seen a real escalation in claims. So, and there is a policy out there that can protect our members and their businesses against those type of events. And that sort of, it's a really good policy because it is like we talk about risk, it identifies where there's a risk management program you probably need to implement within your business to provide the best security you can. But we do see a lot of those claims are purely based on human error. So an invoice comes in, regarding a change of bank account details, for example, when someone just transfers the money without picking up the phone potentially and just confirming with Will, say, look, we've received this email. Can you please confirm that these are your new bank accounts? So there has been some claims for that, that human error where people are busy and they just sort of pay the invoice and then that money ends up in someone else's account that shouldn't be there. So those cyber insurance policies are really important going forward. So it's good to have a conversation and at least trying to manage your risk regarding that space. And especially and business with any time with staff, there's a management liability policy. So it covers anything that protects the directors and officers against any OH&S issues, employment issues and so forth like that, crime against the employees. So they're probably the 3. But for us, what we see and hear is cyber insurance is probably, it's a policy that I'd suggest most most of our members definitely look at. When that might be a small builder or a large builder, there's still that risk there regarding invoices coming in and out, and the systems getting hacked and so forth. So
I'm really glad you raised that, Brett, because I'm aware of a couple of builders who got burnt really badly from fake invoices. They ended up paying, I think 6 figures out to where they shouldn't have, and it only takes one mistake and it can be extremely costly, can't it?
It's quite scary, to be honest. So and we've seen some there's $50,000 or $100,000 or even $10,000. Like if you've got no cover in place to protect against those losses, and I think every time that we've seen or hear it, it's just been that human error factor, that not so much the system you've got in place, it's just someone hasn't done their checks and balances, I suppose, to pick up the phone and just confirm that the details that someone has sent through an email, and these emails are so sophisticated that you can't pick them up. So I'd suggest most businesses, if that's the case, I'd bring that as a business practice just to really minimise risk, that if any change of personal details that someone confirms that verbally over the phone, I think that would save a lot of potential claims going forward.
I think that's excellent advice, and human error tends to happen when people are really tired, and there's a lot of people after the past 2 years who are really tired, and you just don't want to make that kind of mistake, do you? No,
it could be horrific, like I said, for a small builder, for even $5,000 or $10,000 that they have to provide back to the supplier. It's that have a significant impact on their business. So, and these policies are fairly cost effective as well. And you have some sort of limits that you can select to suit your business needs. So so we'd suggest probably a product going forward that someone would sort of definitely investigate and get some quotations regarding that product to protect their business the best they can. So
you've covered some really important areas today, Brett, and anyone watching this podcast, Master Builders Insurance Brokers, Brett and the team there are definitely there to help. So please pick up the phone. They offer a great service and they want to see you succeed. So Brett, thanks again very much for not only coming in today, but the great work you're doing for Master Builders Insurance Brokers, and keep doing an awesome job.
Thanks, Will.
Thanks for joining me on Building Perspective. For more information on Master Builders or our guests, please visit our website at mbasa.com.au.